everyone! I hope your weekend is off to a great start. So today we're going to do something really special. We're going to be making these cards that you can send to assisted living facilities. I know that a lot of places right now are asking for children to send in drawings and cards and letters to help brighten up their residents' days. So I thought that this would be a fun little activity to make marker printed cards. So there's two different ways that we're going to make these. So it's like a little printmaking activity, and then something that also is going to brighten somebody's day. All right. Now, one of the facilities that I know specifically in Amarillo is asking for these things to be sent in before April 30th, and it's the Park Central Senior Adult Community Living Facility. So what I'm going to do is down below in the description, I'm going to put their address and all of the details that I saw from this post that was going around on Facebook, okay? And I just think that this would be such a lovely idea for you and your kids to kind of do together this weekend. So I think I'm going to send them a couple as well. All right, let's get started. So here's what you need for the project. You need washable markers. You will need a sheet of cardstock, scissors and a pencil, a plastic ziploc bag, any size, probably big enough to cover the surface of the card, and then probably you're going to need a Sharpie, and then we're going to need a styrofoam plate, just like a normal dinner plate, and we're going to end up cutting this out of the styrofoam plate, and then you'll need some water handy, and then a rag or a sponge.
Do you guys hear that barking and squeaking? I actually just got a brand new puppy yesterday. He's about 3 months old, and he doesn't really like to be left alone, so he's out in the hallway barking right now. Okay, so we have 2 cards. So we can start our marker printing, and this is a lot of fun to do, so you're going to want to definitely do more than one. So for this first method that we're doing, I'm going to start with the Sharpie and do a pencil drawing, a line drawing. And we're going to do kind of a flower garden, but you can make any kind of drawing that you want. But if you'd like to follow along and do the same one that I'm doing, that's perfectly okay too. Okay. Alright, I think I like that. I think I'm going to leave it just like that. You could add more flowers if you wanted to, because this is your drawing. You can do whatever you want. Now let's get ready for the color portion. Okay, so we're going to just set this aside, and we're going to take our plastic ziploc bag and our washable markers. And I'm going to pick colors that will show up really well. Sometimes the pink doesn't work as well as I would like it to. We can still try it out though. Let's use some purple. And on this part, you can color this bag however you want, okay? You could make stripes. You can just do color everywhere. You could make it look tie-dye if you wanted to. If you want to really be able to see the color really well and kind of see what it's going to look like, you could even put the bag, let's put the bag on top of the card. Yeah, let's actually do this, because then we'll be able to see how big we need to color. So now I'm just going to start coloring with that washable marker onto the plastic bag. here we go. Now, you may want to put a piece of newspaper down or just a piece of paper underneath your card so that your table doesn't get messy. My table is kind of a work table, so it's okay if mine gets a little paint or a little bit of color on it. So what we're going to do to print this, you're going to take your sponge or your rag and get it wet, not too wet, not dripping wet, but wet enough so that you can wet the surface of the paper. And the reason we used a Sharpie marker for this is because the Sharpie marker won't bleed when we get it wet, okay? So we got the surface wet. We're going to lay the plastic bag down on top of it and then press with our hands all over. Press, 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 and you don't want to move it too much, okay? You just want to keep pressing with your flat hands. Press, 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 press. Give it a couple of rubs. And then when you pick it up, look, there's no color on the bag anymore. It all moved over to the paper. Isn't that cool? Now you just want to let it dry. And there you have a card. You can write your message on the inside. Now, here is the second way to make a marker print. This one is going to be a little different. You'll need your pencil, and let's go ahead and take that second card that we made when we cut it in half. And we'll take our styrofoam paper plate. Okay, so we have our little styrofoam piece. Let's measure it up against the card. Okay, that's about the same size, so that should work really nicely. You could trim it down a little bit if you wanted a nice white border around the edge of your card, but I think I'm going to leave it the same. So let's throw away these extra pieces and we'll set our cardstock card that we made off to the side. And we're going to take this styrofoam piece. What we're going to do is we're going to draw into the styrofoam and you're going to press into it so that it leaves an indentation, but not so hard that, that it's going to tear the styrofoam, okay? And I think for this one I'm just going to do some simple line patterns. You guys, I have this paint under my nails and it kind of looks like dirt, but I promise it's not. It's just paint that I can't get out. Okay, so we're just gonna do some simple line patterns. So maybe like a press into it and do like a wavy line. Make sure you're putting some elbow grease into it so that it's actually making a dent. So when you run your finger over it, you want to be able to feel that it's denting the styrofoam. You may even go over it again, okay? And let's just do some different line patterns. This one's called a dash. You can make up your own or you can follow along. Now we're just going to take the washable markers again, and this time we're going to color on the surface of this. What we just made, we're going to call our printing plate. So we're going to color on the surface of the plate with the markers. Now I did stripes last time, which you could do stripes again over your patterns, but I think this time I'm just going to randomly color over it. Maybe kind of make it look tie-dye. And this style of printing is called relief printing. So these indentations that you have, you don't really want the color to go down into them. So don't take your marker and color down into the patterns that you made. You only want the marker to be covering over the surface of the plate like this. You want your colors to touch so there's not going to be any white space left over. If you're not careful, this can be kind of messy. So when you touch the surface of the plate, you may be getting the marker on your fingers, okay? But it is washable, so it may take a couple of times, but it'll wash off your fingers. So now we have our printing plate, and we're going to take the card, and again, on the front surface of the card, we're going to get our towel or our sponge wet. Not super wet, just wet enough to rub over the surface of the card. Okay. Maybe I might give that a little bit more. Okay. And then we're going to take our printing plate, carefully turn it over upside down onto the card. Actually, I'm going to open this up and then put it on the front. And then try not to move it too much. With your flat hand, rub the back of it. So I'm holding it with one hand and I'm rubbing all over the back of it with the other hand, and we're trying not to move it. Okay, so just keep rubbing it. Rub, 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 rub. Okay, now we're gonna pick it up gently. Look at that! All of the color from the plate printed onto the surface of the card. How cool! Alright, so we need to let that dry a little bit. And then you'll notice on this card that because we wet it, it's curling or bowing. So what you can do is, once all of the markers dry, you can just put it under a stack of books or something heavy to flatten the card. Okay? And then you can write your messages inside. Oh, and the cool thing is, this plate can be used over and over to make lots of cards. You can just wash all that marker off and then keep going and doing different color patterns and printing more and more cards. The white part that was indented will stay the same, but your color will look different.
Okay guys, when you're finished, I'd love to see what you made. Upload it to Instagram and tag me at art.lately. Bye!